Listen, you woke up this morning and you had 1,000 things pulling at your soul. The weight of the day, the pressure of performance, your phone, your job, your schedule, and you rushed into it. You rushed into all of it, like a fool walking into battle with no armor, no sword, and no knowledge of the enemy, and you wonder why you're tired. You wonder why you fall into the same traps, the same cycles, the same regrets. You wonder why you carry so much anxiety and fear and dread. You wonder why the light inside you is flickering like a candle in a hurricane. It's because you began the day without truth. You began the day without foundation. You began the day without the only thing that can give you strength, clarity, and direction. You see, this isn't some motivational concept. This is life and death. This is war. The world will not wait for you to find your footing. Culture isn't going to slow down to make space for your peace. The enemy isn't going to pity you because you're tired. No. If you don't begin your day grounded in eternal things, then you are a slave to whatever is temporary. And what's temporary is what's killing you. You wake up, and the first thing you do is reach for your phone. Scroll, swipe, news, noise, notifications. None of it is making you stronger. None of it is making you wiser. None of it is preparing you to love well, to work hard, to suffer rightly, or to think clearly. You're consuming garbage before your feet have even hit the floor, and you expect to run the race set before you. You expect to walk in victory. It's foolishness. It's delusion. It's like trying to run a marathon on a diet of ashes. Let me ask you something. What do you really believe? Not what do you say you believe, but what do your actions reveal about your priorities? If someone followed you for a week and observed the first hour of every single day, what would they conclude about your life? Would they say, "This is a person who draws strength from eternal wells"? Or would they see a person consumed by the trivial, enslaved to the temporal, dancing on the edge of a cliff and calling it freedom? You cannot have peace if you don't prepare your heart. You cannot have joy if you don't train your mind. You cannot endure trials if you don't anchor your soul. And all of that, every bit of it, starts before the sun comes up, before the rush, before the noise, before the chaos. There must be a time, a sacred time, when you silence the world and listen. Not to yourself, not to your feelings. Your feelings are liars. They change with the wind. One moment you feel invincible. The next you're drowning in despair. Don't trust them. Trust what is unchanging. What is solid, what has proven true for every generation. The morning is not just a part of your day. It is the doorway. It is the threshold through which you step into everything that follows. If that step is careless, if that step is rushed, if that step is void of reflection and truth, then don't be surprised when the rest of the day collapses. You cannot build a tower on sinking sand and expect it to stand when the storm comes. And the storm will come, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it will come. Pain, disappointment, betrayal, sickness, loss. These are not possibilities. These are promises. And the ones who endure are not the ones who react well in the moment. The ones who endure are those who have built a life of daily preparation. They've trained their hearts to see beyond the veil of the visible. They've disciplined their minds to return to what is true, even when everything around them screams a lie. They've cultivated a secret place in the quiet hours of the morning where strength is forged and wisdom is birthed. Don't talk to me about your goals if you're not willing to begin your day in silence and truth. Don't talk to me about how much you want to change, to grow, to overcome, to succeed, if the first thing you do when you wake up is feed your mind with entertainment, distraction, and the opinions of men. You don't need another productivity hack. You don't need another motivational quote on your mirror. You need truth. You need discipline. You need to begin every day not with the world, but in defiance of the world. Yes, defiance, because everything in the culture will push you away from silence. Everything in this modern machine is designed to keep you busy, distracted, reactive, shallow. That is the war you are in. And the battlefield is your heart, so don't start the day like a victim. Don't roll out of bed already defeated. Rise up like a warrior. Prepare your heart like a soldier prepares for battle. Set your mind like a compass fixed on north. Don't go into your day without strategy. Don't go into your day without strength. Don't go into your day without vision. You think this is extreme. You think this is too much. Then look around. Look at the broken homes. Look at the panic in people's eyes. Look at the emptiness behind the smiles, the weariness behind the laughter. We live in a culture where people are medicating themselves just to make it through the day. Where people are running from silence because they're terrified of what they'll hear. You cannot fix what you refuse to face, and the morning is where you face it. The morning is where you fight. The morning is where you win or lose the battle of the day. You say you don't have time. That's not true. You have time for what you value. You always do. You make time to eat. You make time to scroll. You make time for things that are meaningless. Don't tell me you don't have time. Tell me the truth. You don't have the will, and that's the problem. You've believed the lie that your mornings belong to your schedule, to your obligations, to your devices. They don't. They belong to eternity. They belong to purpose. They belong to truth. They are a gift and a weapon, and you are squandering them. You can't keep living like this. You can't keep putting off the most important things while giving your best energy to the least important ones. You can't keep hitting snooze on discipline, on wisdom, on purpose. There will come a day when you'll wish you had taken these words seriously. There will come a moment when you'll stand face to face with what you've become, and in that moment, the excuses will die. The masks will fall, the truth will speak, and you will either rejoice in what you built or weep for what you wasted. So what are you going to do tomorrow morning? Sleep until the last possible second. Stumble through the routine like a zombie, or will you rise up early, focused, determined, and begin your day with intention? Begin it with stillness. Begin it with truth. Begin it with what lasts. Stop drifting through life. Stop reacting. Stop being a slave to the urgent and the empty. Begin your day the way you were meant to. Awake in soul, clear in mind, resolved in heart. You were not made to be a slave to the machine. You were not created to wake up already behind. You were not designed to live by fear, to chase approval, to be tossed back and forth by the noise and nonsense of this shallow generation. You were created for something deeper. You were created for a fire in your bones, not a flicker in your chest. You were created to live out of a place of clarity, not confusion. Power, not weakness. Peace, not panic. But none of that happens by accident. It happens when you make war against your laziness. It happens when you silence every competing voice. It happens when you say no to the easy thing and yes to the necessary thing. It happens in the morning. It happens when no one is watching. It happens when the world is still sleeping and you are awake, awake in the only way that matters. So don't wait for a better time. Don't wait for a new year. Don't wait until you feel inspired. Inspiration is a liar. Discipline is what changes lives. Resolve is what moves mountains. Commitment is what builds legacies. And all of that starts before the day begins. That's the secret. That's the narrow way. That's the way of the few, the way of those who rise when others sleep, who prepare when others scroll, who choose the hard thing so that they can do the right thing. You think it's too late for you. You think your habits are too far gone. Nonsense. As long as there is breath in your lungs, there is time to choose differently. You won't change overnight, but you will change, one morning at a time. One decision at a time, one battle at a time. That's how strength is forged. That's how wisdom is grown. That's how purpose is discovered, not in the noise, but in the silence. And make no mistake, your silence will be fought. Everything will try to steal it. Your phone, your inbox, your fears, your failures, your hunger, your to-do list. They will all cry out for your attention, but you must say no. You must starting your day without centering yourself in eternal, unchanging truth is like entering battle unarmed. The world bombards you with noise and distractions from the moment you wake up. Only truth can give you clarity, strength, and direction. The first moments of your day set the tone for everything that follows. If your mornings are rushed, reactive, and dominated by shallow things, then your whole day will mirror that chaos. Discipline in the morning births endurance, peace, and purpose throughout the day. The culture is designed to keep you busy, shallow, and distracted. The fight for silence in the morning is a war against laziness, comfort, and modern noise. The person who wins that battle daily walks in power while others stumble in confusion. Lasting transformation doesn't come from fleeting inspiration, but from consistent, disciplined choices. Choosing to begin every day with intention before the world begins to pull builds strength, clarity, and legacy one morning at a time. You must understand something that the world will never tell you. You must understand something that your heart, left to itself, will not grasp. The beginning of your day is not some trivial moment, not just a breath between sleep and action, but a decisive battlefront. It is where foundations are either laid or neglected, and if that foundation is not built upon truth, real truth, eternal truth, unchanging truth, then you are beginning in deception, and all that follows will be infected by that error. You will live the rest of the day in reaction instead of conviction, in weakness instead of strength, in confusion instead of clarity. What do I mean by truth? I don't mean some vague sense of inspiration or whatever positive quote you saw on social media. I don't mean affirmations that tell you how amazing you are. That's not truth. That's flattery wrapped in self-idolatry. I mean what is unshakable, what was true before you were born, and will still be true when your bones return to dust. I mean the kind of truth that doesn't change with culture, isn't swayed by emotion, and doesn't bend to circumstance. The kind of truth that confronts you rather than comforts you, that breaks you before it builds you. And you need that every morning, every single morning, because when you wake up, you're not a blank slate. You wake up with a war already happening inside you. Your flesh is awake before your feet hit the ground. Your mind starts running, fears, expectations, regrets, distractions. The lies are already whispering, you're behind, you're not enough, you have too much to do, you failed yesterday, you'll fail again. Do you think you can silence those voices with positivity? With coffee and hustle? No. You need truth. You need the kind of truth that confronts those lies like a sword in the hand of a warrior and strikes them down. That's why the first thing you do matters. That's why where your eyes go, where your mind turns, where your heart rests in the first waking minutes of your day, it all matters, because it reveals what you believe will sustain you. If the first thing you reach for is your phone, then you're being discipled by distraction. If the first thing you do is look in the mirror and remind yourself how strong you are, then you're trusting in flesh that is fading. But if the first thing you do is bow your heart before what is eternal, if you fix your eyes on what is unchanging, then you begin the day as you were created to, not as a master, not as a slave, but as a servant walking in truth. And it's not easy. Don't let anyone lie to you. This is not convenient. Truth is rarely convenient. That's why most avoid it. It's not as comfortable as scrolling through updates. It's not as affirming as a feel-good podcast. Truth will expose you before it strengthens you. It will confront your pride. It will show you where your thinking has been wrong. It will press its hand upon your soul and say, "This right here must go." That is painful. That is hard, but that is good, because only truth that exposes can be truth that transforms. Do you want to change? Do you want to live a life that isn't tossed around by every new headline, every mood, every wave of criticism, every failure, every fear? Then you must begin the day with truth, not once, not sporadically, not when it's convenient, every single day. It must be your rhythm, your habit, your non-negotiable, because truth is not a supplement to your life. It is the foundation of your life. You don't add it in when you feel weak. You build on it so you won't collapse when the weakness comes. So let me ask you something. What do you believe? I mean really believe. Because the evidence of your belief is in your routine. Don't tell me you trust in eternal things when your morning is devoted to temporary noise. Don't say you believe in unchanging truth when you begin your day feeding on what is shallow and fleeting. Belief is not what you say, it's what you do. It's where you turn when you're tired. It's what you seek when you're anxious. It's what you cling to when you're tempted. And if your habits don't align with your beliefs, then you either change your habits or admit your beliefs were just talk. This isn't about legalism. This isn't about checking off a box so you can feel good about yourself. This is about survival. This is about what will carry you through the fire, because the fire will come. It always comes. Suffering is not an if. It's a when. And in that moment, the truth you planted in the quiet hours will either sustain you or betray you by its absence. You don't prepare in the middle of the storm. You prepare before it. You build your house on the rock when the skies are clear so it stands when the skies are black. Do you understand what I'm saying? This isn't about spiritual routine for the sake of image. This is about war. Your soul is not a playground, it is a battleground, and the enemy of your soul is not idle. He doesn't sleep. He doesn't wait until you're ready to fight. He doesn't care about your good intentions. He strikes when you are tired, when you are unprepared, when your armor is still lying by the bed because you were too busy to put it on. And you keep wondering why you feel empty, why your peace is fleeting, why you're easily shaken. It's because you've neglected the very thing that gives you stability. You were not made to live on bread alone. You were not made to survive on the fumes of inspiration. You were not made to follow your feelings or your dreams or your desires. You were made to be anchored in what never changes, and you must begin every day reminding yourself of that. Reminding yourself of what is true, what is real, what is ultimate, because the world is loud and truth whispers. The world flatters and truth convicts. The world offers shortcuts and truth calls you to endure. And if you don't start with truth, you won't hear it at all. I'm telling you, this is urgent, because the enemy is not trying to destroy your life in a single moment. He's trying to erode it one day at a time. He wants you to delay, to say, "I'll start tomorrow," to believe it's not that serious, to convince yourself, "I'm okay, I can handle this." And while you delay, while you drift, while you sleep, he steals your strength. He numbs your heart, he clouds your mind, he replaces conviction with compromise, and you don't even notice, until one day you wake up and realize you've become someone you never intended to be. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can begin differently. You can rise with purpose. You can open your eyes and say, "Today I will not be ruled by noise. I will not be conformed to pressure. I will not chase shadows and call them substance. I will stand on what is true, but it won't happen by accident." You must choose it daily, intentionally, even when you don't feel like it. especially when you don't feel like it. That's when it matters most, when your flesh screams for comfort and your spirit chooses truth anyway. That is when real strength is formed. You don't need to be a scholar, you don't need to know everything, but you need to show up. You need to come to the source of truth with humility, with hunger, with desperation. You need to admit that you are not wise enough, strong enough, or good enough to face the day on your own. That takes courage, that takes honesty, that takes the kind of brokenness that leads to power. Not the world's kind of power, not the kind that fades, but the kind that lasts. The kind that makes you unshakable in a world that is constantly shifting. The ones who make the most impact in this life are not the loudest, not the most gifted, not the ones with the biggest platforms. They are the ones who are deeply rooted, who begin their days in the unseen places, who build in silence what the world cannot take away. They are steady, they are clear, they are resilient, because they begin every day not with the chaos, but with the truth. And truth is not abstract. It is not distant, it is near, but you must come to it. You must turn your heart toward it. You must seek it like treasure. You must guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. You are being formed every day by what you expose your mind to. Your first thoughts in the morning are not just thoughts. They are seeds, and what you plant in those moments will grow. Will it be strength or weakness, clarity or confusion, conviction or compromise? You don't have to live like everyone else. You don't have to begin your day with noise. You don't have to run into the chaos unarmed. You can rise in quiet. You can set your heart. You can fill your mind. You can begin your day grounded in truth, and that truth will change you, not instantly, but certainly, because truth doesn't leave you the same. It tears down what is false and builds what is real. And when that becomes your pattern, your daily rhythm, you'll look back months from now and realize that you are not the same person. You are not tossed by the wind anymore. You are not a slave to every voice. When you wake up in the morning, you are standing at the threshold of a war. You may not see it, you may not feel it right away, but that moment, when your eyes open and your mind begins to stir, is not neutral. That moment is direction. That moment is momentum. That moment determines everything that follows. And the great tragedy is that most people stumble through it carelessly, thoughtlessly, like sheep walking straight into the jaws of the wolf. They treat the morning like it's disposable, like it's something to survive instead of something to steward. And then they wonder why their life feels hollow, why they have no peace, no focus, no endurance. They don't realize they lost the day before it even began. What you do first matters. It shapes you. It forms the lens through which you see every other moment. If you wake up in chaos, you will walk in chaos. If you wake up in fear, you will live in fear. If you begin with distraction, your mind will be fractured all day. If you open your eyes and immediately open a door to the world's noise, notifications, headlines, messages, advertisements, then you have surrendered your day before it even started. You have handed over the most critical moments of your day to voices that do not love you, that do not know you, that do not care about the condition of your soul, and don't pretend that it doesn't affect you. It does. It shapes your mood. It shapes your focus. It shapes your decisions. What you allow into your heart in the morning is what will echo through your thoughts in the afternoon and overflow in your words in the evening. There is no escaping it. The morning is not just a part of your day. It is the soil in which the rest of your day grows. If that soil is poisoned, the fruit will be bitter. If it is dry and neglected, nothing of substance will grow. But if it is tilled, if it is watered with intention and discipline, it will bear strength and clarity and conviction that cannot be shaken. You must understand how much power there is in the first moments of your day. They are sacred, they are a gift, not because they are quiet, but because they are foundational. This is not about romanticizing the morning. It's not about becoming a morning person. This is about building your life on a rhythm of wisdom instead of impulse. Most people live reactively. They let their circumstances dictate their response. They let their schedule control their soul. They are pushed and pulled by the urgent and the loud, and they don't realize they are being shaped by it all. That's not freedom, that's slavery. The only way to break free is to begin your day with a better master, a better voice, a better foundation. The way you begin is the way you walk. If you begin aimless, you will walk aimless. If you begin weary, you will walk weak. But if you begin anchored, if you begin focused, if you begin submitted to what is eternal instead of enslaved to what is immediate, then you will walk with purpose. You will not be perfect, but you will not be tossed. You will not be immune to pain, but you will not be crushed by it. You will have your feet under you, your mind will be clear, your heart will be guarded. And it's not about how early you wake up, it's about how intentionally you begin. You can rise before the sun and still waste your morning. You can be up before everyone else and still let foolishness into your heart before breakfast. It's not about checking a box. It's not about pride. It's about posture. What posture does your heart take when you rise? Do you rise with humility, with dependence, with clarity? Or do you rise with panic, with distraction, with a mind already running to the next task? Some of you think the morning is just something to survive. Just get up, get ready, get out the door. It's just a blur of noise and movement. But let me ask you, if the most important foundation of a building is the one that's laid first, why would you build your life without caring how it begins each day? Why would you pour the concrete of your day without measuring, without planning, without ensuring it will hold weight? You are not building a shack. You are building a life. You are building character. You are building a mind that can discern. You are building a heart that can endure. And you don't build those things in the chaos. You build them in the first hour when everything else is still. If you believe that your life has purpose, if you believe that your mind and your soul are valuable, then your morning must be treated like sacred ground. You must fight for it. You must protect it from the invasion of triviality. You must say no to the urge to reach for comfort, for distraction, for approval. Those urges are strong. They will call to you the moment your alarm goes off. They will whisper lies. You're too tired. It doesn't matter today. Just a few minutes of scrolling. You'll get to it later. But those are the same lies that led you to regret yesterday. They are the same lies that lead to confusion, to guilt, to wasted time. You must see the pattern for what it is. How many days have you lived half asleep, not physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually? How many days have passed where you moved from one task to another with no intention, no clarity, no joy? And how did those days begin? Were they marked by silence and strength, or by speed and scattered thinking? Don't deceive yourself. Your life is not defined by the big decisions. It is defined by the small, repeated choices that form habits, and those habits are born in the morning. And yes, it is a battle. Every single day, it is a battle. You will not feel like rising with clarity. You will not feel like beginning with discipline. Everything in your flesh will resist it. Everything in the culture will tell you to just go with the flow, to do what feels good. But I'm telling you, what feels good in the morning often leads to regret in the evening. You don't need ease. You need alignment. You don't need more sleep. You need more substance. You don't need another hour of distraction. You need 5 minutes of clarity. Start where you are. Don't wait for the perfect morning. Don't wait until your schedule is ideal. Begin now. Begin even if you have 10 minutes. Begin even if your kids are screaming. Begin even if you're weary. Take those first minutes and use them to align your heart with what matters. Turn away from the voices that demand your attention and turn toward the voice that gives you life. Don't let your first thoughts be borrowed from strangers on the internet. Don't let your soul be fed by the shallow. You were not made for that. You were made for what lasts, and what lasts is never loud. The world will never encourage you to begin with depth. It will never tell you to slow down, to reflect, to build from the inside out. It will offer you shortcuts, techniques, productivity hacks, but none of that can replace the power of a disciplined mind and a grounded heart. You can be efficient and still be hollow. You can be productive and still be lost. But if you begin each day with substance, if you build your morning around what matters, then you are walking in a way that leads to life, not just movement. So what's stopping you? What excuses have you believed? That you're not a morning person, that it's too hard, that it's not urgent. Let me tell you something. You don't drift into a life of clarity. You fight for it. You don't stumble into wisdom. You train for it. You don't become a person of strength by sleeping through the moments that shape you. You become strong by choosing what is hard over and over again until it becomes who you are. And when you begin to walk in that, when you begin to guard your mornings and build with intention, you'll find something happening inside you. You'll start to think differently. You'll respond to stress with more calm. You'll face challenges with more resolve. You'll engage with others more patiently, not because you tried harder in the moment, but because you were prepared. Because you started your day with a soul that was fed, a mind that was focused, a heart that was not scattered. That's the reward. That's what's at stake. Not perfection, but power. Not ease, but endurance. You were not made to be tossed around like a leaf in the wind. You were made to walk with clarity, with conviction, with unshakable purpose. But that walk begins with the first step, and that step is your morning. It always has been. It always will be. Most people don't understand the violence of silence. They don't grasp the intensity of stillness. They think quiet is weak, that stillness is passive, but that's because they've never tried to truly sit in it. They've never stepped away from the noise long enough to feel the full weight of their soul. Silence isn't easy. Stillness isn't simple. Silence is war. Stillness is a battlefield. It is in those moments, in those early hours before the world wakes up, that you begin to realize who you really are and what you're really up against. When you remove the distractions, the excuses fall away too. When the noise stops, so does the mask. The filters come off. You're not scrolling anymore. You're not performing. You're not comparing. You're just there faced with the raw truth of your heart, and everything that's been hiding under the surface begins to rise. The pride, the fear, the resentment, the doubt, it all shows up in the silence. That's why most people run from it. That's why they fill every waking moment with something to look at, something to listen to, something to entertain or pacify. Because if they sat in the silence long enough, they'd have to face what they've buried. Stillness is not neutral ground. It is the place where lies are exposed and truth demands to be heard. But you have to sit long enough. You have to wait through the discomfort, through the fidgeting, through the mental noise that fights to distract you even in a quiet room. You have to press through that fog and say, "No, I will not move. I will not distract myself again. I will listen. I will wait. I will face what's inside me." And when you do that, you begin to see things clearly. You begin to hear the voice that's been drowned out by all the other voices. You begin to see the weight of what you've carried and the emptiness of what you've chased. But that clarity comes at a cost. The flesh will not go down without a fight. It doesn't want to be silent. It doesn't want to be examined. It wants movement. It wants sensation. It wants control. And when you take that away, it protests. Your thoughts start racing, your hands get restless, your heart starts to feel anxious, not because something is wrong with silence, but because everything that's been hidden is being dragged into the light. That's the battle, that's the resistance, that's the war within, and don't think it will stop after 5 minutes. It won't. Sometimes it takes much longer. Sometimes it feels like torment just to sit quietly before anything meaningful even begins to happen. But don't mistake the discomfort for failure. Don't think the restlessness is a sign that you're not doing it right. It's the opposite. That discomfort is the proof that you're finally confronting what has been ruling you. It's the pain of detox, the ache of healing, the tearing down of a foundation that was never meant to support you in the first place. You've built your life on noise, on activity, on constant validation and stimulation. So of course silence feels unnatural, of course stillness feels hard, but the fact that it's hard is exactly why it's necessary. You don't become strong by doing what's easy. You don't gain clarity by living in distraction. You must go where the battle is, and for the modern soul, the battle is in the quiet, in the secret place, in the place where no one else is watching, no one else is applauding, and there is nothing to entertain you. Just truth, just your heart, just the reality you've been avoiding. If you can't sit in silence, if you can't be still without panicking, that's not a small problem. That's a sign of deep disorder in your soul. That's a sign that something has gone terribly wrong in how you live and what you love. And the only way to begin healing that disorder is to walk straight into the silence and not run away, not fill it, not numb it, but stay, listen, endure, because what happens on the other side of that resistance is a kind of peace the world cannot give you. It's not artificial, it's not shallow, it's the peace that comes from seeing things as they really are, from knowing that you've faced the darkest corners of your own heart and you haven't turned away, that you've let truth cut through the fog of your thoughts and expose the lies you didn't even know you were believing, that you've stopped pretending and finally started listening, but you can't reach that peace without the battle. You can't find that clarity without going through the confusion. That's the price. That's the path. And that's why most people will never find it. They'll keep living on the surface. They'll keep chasing comfort. They'll keep drowning in noise. They'll keep looking for answers in louder places, thinking that if they just hear the right voice, everything will change. But the change doesn't come from outside you. It comes in the silence, when the voices stop, when the noise fades, when you finally hear what's been there the whole time. Stillness is resistance. It is defiance against everything that wants to keep you shallow. It is a declaration that you will not be ruled by urgency, by anxiety, by the false promises of digital stimulation, that you will not let the world tell you who you are or what matters most, that you will unplug from the matrix of distraction long enough to see reality, that you will carve out a space for what is real, even if it costs you your comfort. And yes, it will cost you. It will cost you convenience. It will cost you the illusion of control. It will cost you your coping mechanisms. It will cost you your addiction to performance, but what you gain in return is worth it. What you gain is a mind that can think clearly, a heart that can feel deeply, a soul that is not tossed by every wind of emotion or opinion. You gain a kind of power that is not noisy but unshakable, a strength that is not visible but eternal. And don't misunderstand, stillness is not inactivity. It's not laziness. It's not disengagement. Stillness is preparation. It is sharpening. It is alignment. You're not withdrawing from the world because you're weak. You're pulling back because you know that without clarity, you have nothing to offer. You're getting your mind back. You're getting your heart back. You're remembering who you are. You're remembering what matters. And when you come out of that stillness, you come out different. You walk with confidence. You speak with weight. You act with purpose because you're not reacting anymore. You're leading, but the world will not applaud this. It will call you lazy. It will call you unproductive. It will try to pull you back into the noise with urgency and guilt. It will tell you there's no time for silence, no value in stillness. But listen carefully. Those voices are lying to you. They are scared of what you will become if you stay in the silence long enough. Because the person who wins that battle becomes unshakable, becomes dangerous, becomes free, so fight for it. Carve out the time, wake up earlier if you have to, turn off your devices, step outside, lock the door. Do whatever it takes to create space where silence can speak, where truth can pierce through the clutter, where your soul can breathe again. Don't let the resistance stop you. Don't let the noise define you. Don't settle for a life that looks full but is empty inside. Stillness will reveal what's broken, but it will also show you what can be built. It will show you that you don't have to keep running, that you don't have to keep hiding, that you don't have to keep pretending, that you don't have to keep living as a slave to your schedule or your image or your fear. There is another way, a better way, a narrow path that starts in silence, that is walked in stillness, and that leads to life. But you must step into the battlefield. You must be willing to lose everything that doesn't matter to gain what cannot be taken away. You must choose the hard road, the quiet road, the road of stillness, because it's in that place, when all else is stripped away, that you finally begin to see what's real, and what's real is what will remain.